Who is this?
Yoshi.
Come on.
So some dinosaur just shows up and he's now part of the group. Cool.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ramsis.
And I'm TheVespor.
And we just got back from seeing the Super Mario Galaxy movie, the second movie in the Super Mario cartoon franchise. And wow, what an amazing movie it is. I can't wait to go over all the details. We're going to give you a mostly spoiler-free, so you can feel safe watching this. We might give away a little details, but nothing that will ruin seeing the movie.
That's right. And this is another entry into our retro done right or wrong. If you recall, we saw the first Super Mario Brothers movie, and it was excellent.
Super Mario Galaxy movie, very clearly the follow-up. It takes place right after the initial movie ended. Before we get into the details, though, let's not forget to remind everybody
to like, comment, subscribe, and
ring that bell. We have a lot more on the way here. We can't wait to join all of you as we look back at Retro Done Right or Wrong. And why do we say is this retro, even though it's a new movie? Because they reference so many retro Mario references and Nintendo references. It really is a retro feeling movie that's catering to every age group.
And I want to add that you really do have to be fans with some of these. This wasn't like the original movie where every 2 seconds they were able to throw something in. Now, you actually had to know something about the Mario franchise, and if you did, you enjoyed this movie even more so.
Alright, so let's give you some details just so you know what we're talking about here. It was released on April 1st, 2026 in the United States and worldwide around the same time. It was directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic, written by Matthew Fogel, released by Illumination and Universal Pictures, 98-minute runtime, and on a budget of 110 million. What is this made so far, Vespor?
As of this recording, which is at the beginning of its second week, it was 438 million so far. It's not over by a long shot. This will probably break 500 million. But that being said, let's talk about the stars in this. And boy, did they go out of their way to bring in as many stars as they could. And some of them only literally said, Yoshi.
Yeah, they got big stars to say very little lines, which is fine. Hey, if they want to throw $1,000 or maybe more.
Oh, you know, it's a lot more.
Yeah, so whatever, it did not matter. That's the whole thing. And before we go over the voice cast, we'll give you a very quick synopsis because you should know who the voice cast is. It doesn't matter. You can have Joe Blow doing this. It doesn't matter. The voice cast is so unimportant that I am shocked they still even care if you have a big name. I would say only one of them was important. Everyone else, who cares?
Returning is Chris Pratt as Mario, Charlie Day as Luigi, Anaya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, Jack Black as Bowser, and Keegan-Michael Key as Toad.
So those are all the returning voice actors from the first movie. They all reprised their roles. They all did a great job as usual. And now you have brand new actors. So you have Donald Glover as Yoshi. You have Glenn Powell, and this is kind of a spoiler here, as Fox McCloud. Yes, that Fox McCloud from Star Fox. Brie Larson as Princess Rosalina. That's not really a spoiler. Everyone should know she's already in it. Luis Guzman as Wart. That is kind of a spoiler. He's in this. Issa Rae as the Honey Queen. As Kamek, now you have Kevin Michael Richardson. It really is a great voice cast that they have here. Why some of these are doing well, I don't know. Literally, some of these characters, even Rosalina, barely has any lines in this. So it's like, why are we getting these high-profile actors? I don't know, because it looks good on paper, I guess.
Now it's time to get into the movie, and the first thing that you're going to ask is Super Mario Galaxy about the Galaxy game? And the answer generally is no.
Now, it has, in the most general of senses, yes, this is sort of what Super Mario Galaxy, the video game on Wii, is based around. And it'd be the first and second, because Yoshi actually played a big part in the second game, not the first game. So it is in the general senses. But besides the fact that it's Rosalina, who's the star of Super Mario Galaxy, and they have the Lumas, that's those little stars that Rosalina takes care of. That's really it. Is it really Super Mario Galaxy? No, you visit various worlds every now and then, but it's such a minimal part of the storyline. It's Let's Play Nintendo Universe is what we're doing here. We're opening up the extended Nintendo Universe, and that's what this movie is using the Galaxy theme as an excuse to do it.
Oh, absolutely. You had cameos from tons of games like Pikmin, Star Fox, and many Mario Brothers games, although I'm sure we probably missed quite a few. There's a little bit of shoehorning, just like in Super Mario World with Yoshi. He literally was introduced in the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it's like, here I am, I'm Yoshi, oh, hey, come on along, and that's pretty much it. The great thing about this movie, though, and the trailers very clearly show this, is Bowser is still left in the shrunken state that he was in the previous movie, so that is a cool nod that it really is sort of a carry-on to the storyline, but this movie has a very different feel. Like, the first movie was about finding your place and belonging, and that Mario and Luigi are these two loser plumbers who then become heroes, but they have to learn how to be heroes, and they're going back and forth to New York. All that is out the window now. Now it's just location, location, location. Mario is already an expert hero. He can do everything. One movie later, and now he's perfect at everything. Kind of like a roller coaster ride that it just goes from location to location, 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 and it just doesn't stop. And the storyline is sort of secondary, but we'll get to that in a second.
I highly recommend you see this in 3D. It's so much better. It's really done well, and it actually adds to the story, and there's plenty of scenes in here where they take advantage of the 3D. Me and Ramsey saw this in IMAX 3D, and we were blown away. It is food for the eyes here. They do take some liberties here with this movie that was not taken in the game, so that's going to be the biggest surprise for you to figure out what they took liberties with.
Yeah, and there's a lot of liberties because it's really Mario Galaxy in name only, and that's a complaint a lot of people had. When I wanted more. If you're going to call it Mario Galaxy, it better be about Mario Galaxy, and it really isn't. I think they should have called it like Mario Universe, because that fits more of what this is. So, nods to the games. You have Super Mario 1, Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Mario Galaxy, you have Super Mario Galaxy 2, you have Super Mario Maker, Super Mario Maker 2, and you have Super Mario 64, Super Mario Odyssey, you also have Super Mario Sunshine references. So every single main console, not the portals, but the main console games has a reference or a power-up or some sort of nod to it in this movie. Really, they covered every single thing. They have moments of Super Mario 2. We already mentioned that Wart's in the movie. That's not a surprise. He's on the movie poster. Super Mario 3, they're using a lot of the power-ups. There's a lot of enemies from it. That's a great moment. Super Mario 1, they actually have a great moment, and we're not going to give it away, but it's a great moment how they give so many nods to the first Super Mario, because a lot of people did have a complaint that the first Super Mario movie didn't really reference Super Mario 1. They took care of that in this movie. They reference a lot of Super Mario 1, and of course Super Mario Galaxy gets the most references because that's what it's supposed to be based on. So they do a great job, and we'll talk a little bit about the new characters, because we already talked about the old characters and watch our previous review. The new characters are what we're going to focus on here. So before I get to the new characters, though, Jack Black is back as Bowser, and he's small. Again, that's not a secret. Everyone knows how the first movie ended. He's going through an identity crisis. He's happy, he's sad, he's happy, he's sad. And he's going through a whole arc here, and it is fun how Jack Black plays the character. Not as good as the first, though, I'll be very honest. Bowser in the first was amazing. He had this crush on Peach the whole entire time. That's sort of highlighted a little here, but now he's having identity crisis problems, so that's the path they went with it. New characters, you have Bowser Jr. He's the most important new character they add to this movie. And Benny Safdie plays him brilliantly. You know, you really believe he is this evil tyrant who just wants to impress his dad. He just wants to show that he's just as bad as his father, and it's all about impressing his father, and that's what the whole thing. They have Bowser Jr. with his paintbrush power, and they're referencing Super Mario Sunshine, but he showed up with many games with his paintbrush, but they do have his paintbrush ability, which was really cool, and he uses it to the max. Like, he is a force to be reckoned with, and I like how they did it, because even in the games, Bowser Jr. sort of took over for all the Koopalings. Everyone remembers that the Koopalings were always the main adversaries. Nope. Bowser Jr. is all of them combined into one. He's the main adversary. He was great. And then you have Yoshi. That's the other important Mario character. We're not talking about non-Mario characters, but Mario characters. And it is cool, but he's inserted in. It's very awkward how he's inserted. He's just sort of there because he has to be there. And Donald Glover, great actor, but all he's saying is Yoshi the whole time. It's kind of funny and silly. But yes, you have Yoshi, and even Toad is wondering, why is this character here? Yeah, we're wondering the same thing sometimes.
Well, they try to do it to give you consistency, and I do give them credit, because this definitely was a Super Mario Brothers movie, and when you start to look at it in terms of, well, in the first one, we measured it mainly against the Super Mario Brothers game, and it kept true to it. They made sure to treat the characters respectively. You're going to hear all kinds of remixes with this huge orchestra, and the music is really good, but it's mostly remixes, but it's done very well. And this movie is done very well, except my biggest complaint for it is, unlike in the first movie, is the pacing. This movie, for an hour and 28 minutes, was incredibly slow.
Yeah, it really was, and I feared this would be the problem. And we're not going to give away important story elements, but I feared that, you know, 3 years seems like a long time to make a movie, and yes, but when you see this movie, you could see where all the time went. It wasn't in writing this movie, it was the animation, which was amazing, by the way. Very beautifully animated. Everything looked amazing in this movie. But you can see that's where all the time was. But you can't start animating something without a story, so that means the story had to really be rushed, and it feels like the story is rushed because this movie, again, comes off as a Nintendo movie, not a Mario movie, a Nintendo movie. Why? Because Fox McCloud is inserted into this movie, and we're not going to give away what he does, but again, it's no secret that he's in it. They made a very big deal that he's in it, and it feels very inserted, like, hey, you know, we're going to insert some of our other Nintendo properties here. Let's see what else we can get away with. You know, hey, Fox McCloud's very popular with many in our younger community. Let's see if we can squeeze them in. And it's like, all right, yeah, now you're throwing in a random Star Fox character into this movie. So it's very obvious you were trying to see what else will fly and what you can do. And don't get me wrong, the Fox McCloud moments were great in the movie, but did it feel inserted? Yeah, it absolutely felt inserted and weird, just like the Yoshi inclusion felt weird. Wart felt natural because you wanted to see him. The Honey Queen had 1 second of line, I don't even know if she was there. And the other important character was Princess Rosalina. And her storyline they're going to change. We're not going to give anything away, but we are going to say they changed Princess Rosalina's storyline greatly. You know, she doesn't get much usage in the Mario Galaxy games except to be an advisor, and she's the one watching over the Luma. But in this one, there's a whole story arc behind her, and it's very strange. I don't know if I liked it that much, but whatever, that's what they went with.
And here's something that's actually kind of fun. If you look at the first Super Mario Brothers movie that they did, they showed a great plethora of scenes throughout the movie. Short previews they show you in the trailers is literally taken from the first 15 minutes of the movie, except for maybe 1 or 2 scenes.
Yeah, there's like a few flash moments, but the trailers pretty much show the opening of the movie, and they don't give away too much besides that, which is cool. The movie poster itself gives away more because it pretty much shows all the important elements on this movie poster, which I think is hilarious. And I'm not even going to mention, let you look it over. You can look over the movie poster. They pretty much show all the important elements that you need to know about what happened to this movie, because they pretty much show power-ups, they show characters, they show weapons, they show situations. It's pretty much all on this movie poster. So the poster gives away much more than we're giving away in what we're going to say here.
And also, the portrayal of Fox that Ramses keeps talking about, this is more of the meme of Star Fox, not the actual character. He's a lot more laid back. Unlike if you play the original Star Fox series, he's kind of straightforward and to the point.
A little bit about his Star Fox background. So again, it was full advertisement mode here, and they're gonna have a lot of that stuff. You know, they have one moment where they have a Game & Watch reference. They have the Piantas all over the place. They have no speaking lines, but you can see they were just trying to throw reference. Even if it didn't make sense to have the reference, we're just gonna throw in every Mario eye candy character we could do, and that's what the goal was here. Now the music is very different. You know, you'll remember we did a whole entire thing on our first review of our retro done right or wrong for the Super Mario movie. Well, we're not really going to do that here because there really is not the same soundtrack here. The soundtrack is amazing, and even I might get it, it's that good, but only if you really love Mario-themed music or Mario Galaxy music or Star Fox music, because those are the musics that they all reference in this movie. And is it good or bad? It's great. The soundtrack is great, but it's very different. Now, the soundtrack is gigantic for the first movie also, 37 songs, but they don't put all the real songs that were in it. You know, we mentioned Beastie Boys, they had AC/DC, they had Bonnie Taylor, they had a lot of amazing old school songs. They even had Take On Me. I remember that song. That was great. They had a lot of songs, and then they had the Peaches song, which was great. They had the DK Battle. They had the Mario Brothers in their commercial. They had a lot of stuff. This movie is not going to go that path. This movie is going to be more just Mario music in the background. They don't really use any songs, and I don't know if it's they didn't want to get the rights or they went in a different path. Because remember, we were not on Earth in this movie, and that's one little spoiler I will give you. It takes place mostly in the Mario universe. The soundtrack has a very, very different feel to it, but I will say, I was telling Vespor, hey, that song's from this game. Oh, that's it from the whole entire movie. So it worked. Whatever they did with the soundtrack, it worked because it was so cool to hear the nods to every single song. As you were going through the sewers, you had the underground music from Super Mario 1. As you were on a planet, you had the Super Mario Galaxy music. As you were in the casino, you had Super Mario 2 music. They did that. They referenced wherever we were dealing with, they had the music tones in the background. So I think it worked very well. And I honestly like that better. You know, I love the music in the first one, but I like when it's more Mario based, not as real world based. I like where we're kept in the universe. I always like it when it's like that. I don't like referencing real world. I like referencing in universe, and they did that amazingly. I was very happy with the music in this.
You're making these movies for the fans. They did make it for the fans. Although, looking back on it, they really did have one big screw up that I did not like with this movie. And the whole fact of Bowser trying to be a good guy, he's a bad guy. It's inconsistent for what is shown on the screen.
Yeah,
They spent most of the movie making him up that he's trying to redeem himself. And then 2 seconds later, when he meets Bowser Jr., oh yeah, I'm a bad guy. It's like...
Right, I didn't like that either. We didn't talk about this, but I think we were on the same exact page. I thought that too. I thought, wait a minute. They went through this whole arc of, and we're going to keep this spoiled free, so we're not going to tell exactly what happened here, but they went on this whole arc about how Bowser, you know, is not really that bad, he's going to help him, whatever. And then, you know, hey, a few minutes later, you're like, forget it, I forgot what I was talking about, and that's the end. I mean, it was very forced, and that's the problem with this movie. The script is its weakness. The visuals are amazing, the music's amazing, the characters are amazing, even the situations are amazing. The story is not amazing, and that is the problem with this movie. It is a very, very weak story. It has very little to do with anything. It is an excuse to take us to many amazing locations in the Mario universe. That is all this movie is. The story is so paper thin, you can cut it through it with a finger. It is a very thin story.
And that being said, this is one of the few times where I will say that they probably need to add 10 or 15 more minutes to this movie to fill in a lot of the holes, because they were rushing this as fast as they could. Now, that being said, these are problems we had with the movie. It doesn't mean we didn't enjoy it. For example, if we were going to give this a rating, I would probably give this, as opposed to the first one, a 3.5. It definitely is what most people are saying. It's not as good as the first one. The first one I thought was a solid 4 stars. Great movie. Not as good. This one was rushed. And that being said, even though it was rushed, it did not lose its flavor. I knew I was watching Mario the entire time, but I wanted to enjoy the world more.
Yeah, and I would also, I'm going to agree with Vespor. You know, we don't always agree, but I'm going to agree on this one. 3.5. I think that is a perfect rating for this movie. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I saw it. I did not like it as much as the first. I still think it was a worthy movie of seeing. It was impressive, especially in 3D. A lot of fun moments, a lot of fan service, a lot of cool cameos, a lot of situations I enjoyed. But the story is just so weak that it prevents it from being a great movie. It's a good movie. It's a very good movie. But the story is just so paper thin, and that is the biggest weakness. And that's been a complaint. I was hoping that everyone was like, no, that can't be true. Yeah, it's true. The story is very weak. Even the ending is so wrapped up in a second, and we're not going to give that away either, but the ending is just so unfulfilling. You know, in the first one, it was more fulfilling. You had them battling in the star, and they captured him. This one, it's kind of like, yeah, there's a little element, but I knew exactly what was going to happen. I said, oh, Vespor, look at what's going to happen when whatever, and exactly as I played it out is what happened. Not as exciting. There's a few funny moments where Luigi does some fun stuff in the battle. Mario plays the hero. Peach does some interesting things also. I mean, that's about it. It's very disappointing. The story is so paper thin, and the whole plot of what they're accomplishing is because Bowser Jr. wants to fulfill something that his father promised they would do. And then you realize that's a pretty stupid idea. You know, if you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, you're going to wind up being very bored with your existence. So I think it was a very bad idea in the first
Well,
one.
and the other problem is that if you watch the first one, 90% of the first movie was about the Super Mario brothers, Mario and Luigi. You had the princess in there, you had some Bowser in there to mix it up, but it was about the brothers. This one, everybody had almost the exact same amount of screen time. There was very little to make it feel like a Super Mario Brothers movie. It was about Koopa, it was about Bowser Jr., it was about Rosalina, although she played less of a part in the later half, about Princess Peach. It was everywhere, and that was what held this movie back from being absolutely great.
Yeah, exactly. I like that the characters had used, like Toad had a fun moment, and, you know, Bowser was showing himself, and Bowser Jr. was. So they had cool moments, but it really became like a mishmash of let's just throw all these characters. We have too many characters. Let's just throw them all over the place, and that's what it became. You wanted to see more Mario and Luigi. When you saw Mario and Luigi, the movie felt great. When you didn't see them, you're like, eh. I mean, that's not totally true. Peach and Toad had some great moments together, too. I enjoyed them working together, but it was not enough Mario and Luigi. That is definitely the problem. So I think that's going to wrap it up. We're going to say definitely see it. There's a lot to look forward to here. If you are a fan of old school Mario, you're going to love this. If you're a fan of new school Mario, you're going to love this because they had a lot of references to new games. They had Super Mario Odyssey, that's the newest Switch game, all over the place. There was references. They even had, well, I'm not going to give away, but they have a very cool monster moment in that that is a direct takeoff on that game. Very cool. So yeah, new fans, old fans, middle fans, you're all going to love this.
Now, that being said, was this retro done right? I would have to say yes, this is definitely retro done right.
Considering the 1993 movie was retro done wrong, that's the threshold. All right, is this on the same level as that? It's not even close to that. So that was a movie done wrong in the 1993. Well, you can't say this is. We left enjoying it. We just gave it 3.5 stars. We're smiling. We're talking about how great the music is and how much fun it was. So yeah, it's retro done right. Is it retro done perfect? Absolutely not. I would say the other movie was a little closer to there. That wasn't perfect either, but that was a little closer. I'm hoping, and they will make a third because this already made a fortune. I'm hoping for the third Super Mario movie, they focus more on Mario Luigi. They have a fun story. We don't spread out the universe so much. If you're going to do universe spreading, then make other movies spin-offs. That's what you have to do. Let's have a Mario, Luigi, Toad, Peach movie. Let's keep it all, and Yoshi too. Yoshi will be there too. Keep them all focused together. Have a fun adventure. Relive some more elements from some of the games. You have plenty to work from, and then you'll have a great movie. It's still retro done right. We're both going to give it that, but it could have been a little better, and the story has that rush feeling. Hopefully it won't be as rushed now that they threw in every character you can think of. That's not totally true. Stay to the end of the movie, and I mean to the end, if you want to see even more characters added to this movie, and that's all I'm going to give away. Stay to the end of this movie, and I mean the end, if you want to see another character in this movie.
And remember, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and
ring that bell. We'll see you all next time. Check out Super Mario Galaxy. I think you'll all get a kick out of it. Let us know what you thought about it if you saw it. And if you thought it was greater than we did, tell us why. You're allowed to disagree. I always say you are allowed to disagree, and you are also allowed to agree with us. That's allowed too. You are allowed to agree with us. Let us know what you thought of it in our spoiler-free, mostly review, as we said it would be. All right, thanks all, and you'll be hooked on the brothers. We'll see you all later, everybody.